Welcome to another episode of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I am one of your hosts and one of your commissioners. My name is Frankie, and sitting across the internet from me is Cam. Cam, how are you doing on this lovely Tuesday evening?
I am doing just fantastic. Sun is shining. Hazel is playing around, and possibly for the very first time since we've known each other, Frankie. I know this is a fantasy podcast, but it's a football podcast mostly. The
Right.
Lions might be better than the Steelers.
Yeah, that's very possible.
Uh-huh.
Um, at least the Lions attempt to run a variety of plays
Oh yeah.
and to varying degrees of success. Um, but I've been digging deep a little bit this morning on some film analysis from some different Steelers people I follow on Twitter or wherever else, and they'll kind of they'll post that like all 22 footage that kind of gives you the full view of the field, and they noticed a pattern in this last week of the Steelers. They just ran the same like series of they ran 7 different plays like two or three times each, which is very odd. And to say that there was middling success would be an exaggeration. Now, the Lions, on the other hand, are the darling of the NFL currently, a team that everyone can get behind, a team on the rise, and the Steelers are the exact opposite. So, hey, I think, but if it wasn't for my fandom, I would absolutely rather watch a Lions game right now, which is something I've never been able to say. So, congrats.
Feels good.
Feels good. You know what else feels good is winning in fantasy football. Let's go. We got 2 big winners right here. The rest of y'all suck. Eat it. Bam.
Oh yeah.
And I scored more than you this week, Cam, so you can eat it as well, just in case you were curious.
Congratulations on those 3 more points of week 2.
It feels good. It feels good. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for another episode. We're going to do a quick recap of last week, talk about the games that were, maybe a little bit of the waiver talk, not too much there. And then, of course, we'll look ahead towards week 3. And yeah, we'll run it all down. How does that sound to you, Cam?
Sounds excellent.
All right. Sounds good to me, too. So, before, I guess maybe the first thing, because it's chronologically the first thing that happened, is we had the first day of waivers go through. Nothing too crazy besides for the number one acquisition, which was, of course, Curtis Samuel, who went to Tyler, who beat out Lassie by $1. Wow, what a bid. Nothing else was too competitive on the board, but that was a huge one. And hey, look, Curtis Samuel has come back from the dead. Once again, I'm thinking this is probably insider trading knowledge from Tyler. So we are going to have to, really clamp down on that here pretty soon. But in the meantime, he's enjoying the fruits of his labor. And yeah, nothing else too crazy. But did you have any other takeaways from waivers, Cam?
Nope. I'm jealous of Tyler, but way to go, dude.
Yeah, what else is new? All right, so we had a bunch of fun games last week. We'll start off talking about the game of the week last week, which, oh boy, man, that might be the choke of the entire season. I was getting ready for work at the time of this, or maybe I was at work at the time when this Colts game was going through. But Cam, correct me if I'm wrong, did they put out an injury report at least 30 minutes, if not an hour, before every game? So why was it that Michael Pittman was in the lineup for Envy and Daniel's team?
That is a fantastic question, and one that we also must ask Dylan, correct? Didn't he also start Kittle? Or yeah, he kept Kittle on his team because he was too lazy to put him in IR. I don't know what these people are doing.
It seems like the effort is low already. We'll get to Dylan eventually, but yeah, a choke of a century. Greg won the award for the worst manager this week. Like he missed out on the most amount of points and still won, which feels bad for Envy Daniel's side. Ostensibly they probably would have subbed in Lockett for Pittman and would have given them a pretty easy victory there. So that is a choke and a half. And Greg, is I think he's in the middles here, scoring in the league so far, kind of in the middle, maybe the lower half. But hey, 2-0, we'll take it at this point.
Oh yeah, 1 of 3 2-0 teams.
Yeah, one of the couple. Other notes from the league, of course. Hey, Logan, he quieted the haters this week, of course, with some huge performances from his receivers. Of course, Lamar Jackson going off in probably his best performance ever in a loss. Defense did great. McPherson had a bounce back week. He kicker flexed, so just rubbing salt in the wound here to JP. And puts him right to 0-2. So congrats to Logan on that one. Hey, Logan, here's your airtime. Are you happy? All right, we're done. We're done talking.
Whoa. No, we need to wax poetic about Logan a little more. Because my man, Jets homer Logan Roth, drafts Garrett Wilson, 26 points this week on Logan's bench. It's got to hurt, dude. But, not too much when already putting up 163 points. But, dude, could have maybe reached a record of scoring if he did.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. He put up one of the highest scoring I can remember, and his tight end scored less than a point. It's pretty wild. But yeah, so great job there.
Also, I want to shout out Logan drafting. Oh God, who's that Falcons receiver? Drake London.
Yeah.
Nice pick, Logan. Way to go.
Yeah, absolutely. I was looking through the games and I found a pretty fun standoff here. Where two of these players could be seen as week winners for sure on either team in different leagues, where you had Amon-Ra St. Brown on your team versus Jalen Waddle on Jake's team, who scored essentially the same amount of points and in a second-year receiver standoff, which was cool to see. Although, of course, he did come out victorious on that one. I thought it was funny how closely scored they were, within 0.3 points of each other. Kind of a fun nugget there. My only other note, Cam, is I think that we can officially say, and I can say with confidence, that we should move to being a one running back league next year, because around the league, man, there's just not a lot of good production going on in week 2. It's just like you go down the games and they're not finding a whole lot of performances that really beat expectations, besides for like Aaron Jones, Nick Chubb. Like, you have a couple other ones here and there, like some nicer games from players you weren't expecting a lot of, but Jonathan Taylor didn't do anything. Christian McCaffrey didn't do anything. Dalvin, of course, didn't do anything. Mixon did nothing. It's looking bad across the entire league.
Sounds like someone's trying to cope. We gotta keep it, dude.
I know we do,
but just live with your failures of drafting. That's all I have to say for you.
I will live with them as long as Diggs scores 3 touchdowns a week. I'll be fine. All right, cool. Well, that's about all I have from week 2. Anything else, Cam? Oh,
we have to, of course, talk about Dylan Mickanin, our esteemed try-hard compatriot. Put up 77 points against Justin. I mean, I understand Trey Lance broke his ankle. That's very unfortunate. But you get 30 points from Aaron Jones. That's half your score. Oh, dude, that's a rough one. Dylan out here with, let me get the specific numbers up. Dylan has scored 157 points on the season. Right now, the record is Logan with 280. So 130 more points, which is basically an entire week's worth of points. And we're in week 2. The next lowest team is Tyler at 195, so still 45 points higher. Dylan's team is just embarrassing.
It's not great. I was gonna mostly give him a pass. Obviously, we touched on the Kittle part. I was gonna give him kind of a pass because of the Trey Lance injury. But yeah, it's tough when there's not a lot going on with your team in terms of scoring on a certain week, and then there's like even less going on in your bench. It's like, geez, where does the hope come in? It's rough out here for Dylan. He often talks about, he either wants to win the league or lose the league. I'm not entirely sure what part of his drafting strategy, would have made him win the league with this lineup. But, hey, to each their own. Let's hope for, more Aaron Jones touchdowns and receiving touchdowns too, I guess.
He's going to need it.
All right. So that was week 2. Looking ahead to week 3, there's some fun matchups all across the board. You have some interesting dilemmas here. So you have two games, of course, where we have teams that are 0-2, and me versus JP, and then you versus Tyler. You versus Tyler is a really fun one. Well, one, because it kind of will cement, that really early season standings for the alphas. If you put Tyler, I mean, I'm not saying it's the dirt nap game, but it's an early season dirt nap game. All right, let's go, Tyler. Got to pick it up here. Um, but you have a lot of fun stuff going on your side because you have like every almost all of your star players are playing against a division rival, which are games that are usually more high variance. You have a lot of NFC East action going on, a little bit of NFC West. And then just a lot of fun matchups there. Not so much on Tyler's side, but I think it's a really good matchup all around. The highest projected matchup is me versus JP again against a player who's 0-2, and he might be missing Herbert this week, so he's going to need to go to the waiver wire for that one. So. It's a lot of interesting matchups around the league. Anyone that particularly stick out to you, Cam?
Yeah, I mean, both those matchups definitely high stakes for the 0-2 teams. If you come out of the first round of division play losing all three of your division games, you're basically shut out of the chance to win your division, and you're just hoping for a wild card. But right. I'm eyeballing Logan and Lassie's game because Logan, the 1-2-0 player, playing against a 1-1 team with Lassie, and Lassie's his team's looking a little in danger just because of how slow the Tampa Bay Buccaneers have started, and he went heavy on them with Tom Brady, Leonard Fournette, and Mike Evans, and then he's got Mike Evans with the suspension.
Right.
But if he can take it to Logan, our highest scoring team on the season, and get a win here, I feel like help offset that slow start for his team and really get him going as we head into the interdivision play.
It would absolutely be a statement win. His bench is looking a little light at the moment, but he'll even with Mike Evans having projected at 0 points right now, he's still just about neck and neck there projections wise against Logan. So slide anyone else in there, a flyer or say like a Singletary in the flex or something like that. Things could get interesting. Yeah, it's a big one for sure. That'll be a big one to see like who is really trying to take that early lead. For studs and stoners. I don't know. I can't remember a time that Logan started 3-0. So that would be interesting to see as well. And I didn't even mention I forgot about the other 0-2 team because so forgettable at this point. With Dylan versus Envy Daniel again starting 0-3. I've done it before, and I think I've made playoffs doing it, but it was a struggle the entire season. So, really hoping for a bounce back week. And yeah, Dylan's going to need to do some soul searching on the waiver wire. We better be making some big moves here, or else, we're talking another dirt nap.
Dylan's bench is all wide receivers and then Alexander Madison. Oh my god.
Yeah. He has 3 Vikings on this team, which you think would be great so far, but not a ton of points to show at this hour.
Hopefully he can pick up Irv Smith and make it 4 though.
Yeah, hopefully. So good matchups all around the league. I think yours versus Tyler is very interesting. I think mine versus. I think we've I don't know. I think we have some 3 really strong matchups, and of course we have other ones that are great too. And Greg versus Justin. Justin looking for a bounce back with Jonathan Taylor coming back, and Jahan Dotson is emerging pretty quickly as well, which is great to see for him. His flex is looking a little slim with why does he have Mark Ingram in instead of CeeDee Lamb? That's a question for later, I guess. But fun stuff everywhere. Greg starting 0-3 would also be a nice change of pace as well. I feel like he's usually a slow starter as well. So lots of really great options. I'm not really sure where I'm falling for game of the week.
I think honestly, looking over this Greg and Justin matchup, this is the one. Dude, Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, both like absolute fireworks at the quarterback position. Derrick Henry and Jonathan Taylor, big names in the running back, even though Derrick Henry's been disappointing so far. But what are you going to do? I'd like to shout out Greg for starting DeAndre Carter. Because look, we all know Greg is more about the vibes of fantasy football,
Mm.
and I feel like in seasons past he wouldn't even know. DeAndre Carter, why would I start the third wide receiver for the Chargers? Oh wait, Keenan Allen's injured, so just way to go, dude. I
Yeah,
appreciate
it's a good
Greg
point.
doing that.
It's a good point.
Uh, and even going no kicker flex with a kicker on the bench, that's Greg's feeling it this year. I'm here for it.
I think so as well. I mean, he's got a lot of juice on his bench. I mean, I think Olave is just going to get better and better as the season goes on, and Montgomery, he's about as steady as can be usually. So you have good pieces there. I'm just like a little bit confused on the Justin side. What is going on with his running backs? How is his running backs 2 and 3, Mark Ingram and Jamal Williams already? Did he have an injury? I'm not remembering. What is going on here?
I think that's just kind of what happens when you draft 4 kickers in the mid rounds.
It's a good point. It's a good point. Yeah, so because of that, I'm not loving Justin's prospects, but of course, Jonathan Taylor in a lot of weeks will do the work of 2 running
Oh,
backs.
he also
Oh,
traded away.
oh, he traded away
Brees.
Brees. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right. That's right. Um, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Um, Geez, why did he do that when he isn't? I guess he really believes in the A-Rob season. All right, sure. Um, so yeah, a lot of really I don't expect this to be the highest scoring matchup of the week, but I think there's a lot of like really interesting things going on. Like, of course, you said with the DeAndre Carter and Dotson and everything going on. I mean, just at the look of it, I feel like the edge is definitely to Greg at this point with the current lineups. But I like to see him make it a little, maybe mix up his lineup a little bit. Like he's gonna obviously. I mean, I would think he would swap out Ingram for CeeDee Lamb or anyone else. I don't know, but we'll see. I don't know. I think at this point, I'm liking Greg a little bit more.
yeah, definitely leaning Greg, but I think Justin's team just it's got the juice needed. I think it's just fall his way, especially with Josh Allen there.
Absolutely. Well, cool. Let's just touch on a couple other ones. Do you have any other quick points or takeaways or things you're looking towards for your game? I know we're waiting on Gabe Davis to come back, so that's kind of an interesting wrinkle. And Tyler's got his own injuries with Julio and Keenan Allen, but he looks like of course, still pretty solid rosters all the way around.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely spooky. Tyler's seemed to have my number these past couple of years,
Mm.
and James Robinson just being the bane of all of our existences with Tyler just snapping him up and being a stud. But I think it's really going to come down to Thursday night. Nick Chubb against Pittsburgh. If he goes off, then Tyler's got a good shot. But I think if Pittsburgh is able to shut him down, or it's just a low-scoring game in general, then I don't know if Tyler's got the horses to keep up with my team.
Yeah, I mean, he has the Cooks has been pretty good so far this season, and Jamar can always go wild. But Robinson, as much as we like to talk about, he's due for some touchdown regression on this game or the next one. So we'll see. Yeah, definitely liking your side more overall. I think, but I never want to rule out Tyler. I think. I still think he has a good shot at making a good run here. He just needs to really get out of this funk and start performing like I think his team can.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then let's see any other big matchups we haven't touched on yet.
I mean, we got Jake versus Devin.
Right,
I
right.
mentioned that. Both underperforming running backs so far. Christian McCaffrey, Najee Harris is their first overall picks. McCaffrey's been fine, but definitely not what you're expecting when you take him the very first pick of the draft.
Sure.
And Zeke, just kind of an embarrassing pick, Jake, being honest here. It's going to be
That's why I got
super
Brees.
interesting, though. yeah, that's why you got Brees. But they got the Jalen Waddle versus Tyreek matchup.
Yeah,
That can literally swing this entire game within 30 seconds, either way.
it's
I
true.
Myself and Tyler both experienced that firsthand.
It's true, and yeah, it's funny that Devin's starting 2 former Pittsburgh running backs, just and Connor and Harris. Connor, who was a little bit of like a offseason darling in terms of like a value add, but not quite seeing it so far. And then, Josh Jacobs has been doing just about what I expected as well. Not quite as much as you were hoping for. He's got is it interesting? Kirk versus Detroit versus Russ in prime time. I mean, it's not necessarily an easy start, Sid. I'm kind of interested in which way he goes. Yeah, I mean, I think the ceiling is definitely with Jake, but yeah, that Tyreek versus Waddle thing is huge.
Oh yeah.
Jake also needs to find a better solution at tight end. I like Alberto enough, but like I think he didn't put up 0 points last week. Yeah, 0 on 2 targets. So
Jake was dunking on me when I said that was a bad pick, and he scored 5 points week 1. Look, that's still more points than Kyle Pitts has scored all season to get that, Jake, but still. Come on.
Yeah. Like Debo, of course, like CMC. Yeah, I think definitely looking a little bit more towards Jake's side. I am genuinely interested in where he goes with Russell for versus Cousins. I think he probably ends up going Cousins. I mean, he probably just go Cousins, but just because Russ has not been amazing so far. But yeah, some real underperformers on Jake's side with Darnell Mooney and Alberto and things like that. But hey, look, Brees Hall's already exceeding expectations, so maybe he'll be a good flex ad. Okay, I think that's just about everything. I guess we didn't talk too much about my own matchup actually against Jake, besides for the fact that Herbert might play, might not play. Judy might play or might not play for Jake's side. Same with Devin Duvernay. So all things to watch. He has an empty bench spot, so he's looking to fill that up as well. He does have Pollard on his flex, so I think he can easily just move, Amari Cooper up. Amari Cooper, who I was saying, did he do well this week? 20 points. What the heck? Yeah.
He's the only wide receiver that did anything for the Browns.
Oh, did he have a long touchdown catch? I think I might have seen that highlight, and maybe it was someone else. I don't remember. Anyways, it's not super reliable with Brissett at quarterback. But Rex is already looking pretty solid week 1, and then looking pretty like nothing week 2. So a lot of up and down, which is how it goes. DK had one of the best catches of the season, called back against him last week, which is unfortunate. And then on my side, I'm basically forced to start Chase Edmonds, so I might as well just forfeit. And I got nothing else going for me.
You could trade for Tony Pollard.
Trade from Jake?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to fly. That would be funny, though. Yeah, I really went big with the backup running backs this season, really hoping that just one of them would start hitting. I mean, maybe, it's the thing you got to be patient on, but it's not looking great. And, hey, I'm just hoping that, Garrett Wilson just takes a step back and starts letting these targets go to Elijah Moore instead, because, man, we're hungry over here. But yeah, like I said, this is the highest projected scoring matchup so far. For the week, so it should be a good one. I'm taking myself obviously because I do have the 2022-2023 MVP as my quarterback. So sucks to be Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I'm picking Jake if Herbert plays. Otherwise, he's gotta get lucky there, and Judy's gotta play well for Jake to take this out. And also, shout out Rex Burkhead, dude. You don't need to start Rex Burkhead, especially against Chicago. For the love of God.
Yeah, you can put in some more tight ends instead. All right, cool. Well, that's about all I got for week 3. Thank you all for listening to an episode of the Anyone But Cam Fantasy Football Podcast. I have been Frankie.
And I am going to be your undefeated Alpha Cam.
Hopefully not. And we'll see you guys on the next one.